Hello there, everyone. Welcome again to Indian Story Read Along. Today we're going to read a story from Tinkle Comic Books, and this is a really funny story. This is called Learning a Trade. Now, I don't have the date of this book, but I saw a contest on the back page, and it said all the contest entries have to be due by June 1988. So that's the way I figured out the date of this book. You can see it's pretty old and not doing very well. But still, this story is really funny. And that's why we're going to read it today. Learning a Trade. Script by Prasad Iyer. Illustrations by Ram Vairkar. Okay, Shamu was a slothful youth, that meant lazy, who spent most of his time lazing in the fields. And there's his father there saying, "I'm sick of seeing that boy loafing around." Father says, "Come with me, Shamu. We're going to see your uncle. Perhaps he could teach you some useful trade." And then Shamu says, "But Father, I'm happy as I am." And then they're on their way. Father says, "I don't want any arguments. Now come quietly or you'll get a hiding." That means he'll get a beating. So they're at the uncle's house. The uncle says, "So you want Shamu to learn a trade, eh?" And the father says, "I'll be grateful if you could teach him one, brother." And then the uncle says, "So be it, brother. I'll see to it that he learns a noble profession, my own." Shamu's uncle was a notorious thief. I don't know why the father thought this was a good idea. So then he leaves Shamu with the uncle, and then the uncle says to him, "Come, boy. Today, I'll teach you how to steal a horse." And Shamu says, "Steal? Wouldn't it be easier to buy one?" Look at the uncle's face. "Cheh, boy, you'll never learn this trade if you have such foolish ideas. Look, there's a fat merchant. Now, watch me relieve him of his horse. I'll remove the saddle, lead the horse away, and..." He put the saddle on himself, and then he's jumping around like a horse. "Hooray, hooray!" And the merchant wakes up and is, Who are you?" And then the uncle says, "Don't you recognize me? I'm your horse." At first, the merchant doesn't believe this. He's angry and he says, "Explain yourself, sir." And the uncle says, "My master, my benefactor, a magic spell had transformed me into a horse. How many masters have I had? How hard they drove me. But your excellency, you took pity on me, and the spell was broken. Now I shall never leave you. I shall serve you like a real horse. Oh, my friend, my guardian." The uncle has done this before, obviously, but now the merchant has a problem. Look, his head is spinning. He says, "My goodness, what a predicament. What shall I do with this fellow? How shall I feed him? I can't give him hay, and food is so expensive these days. No, I'll have to get rid of him." Look, he's sweating buckets. So then he says, "Look here, I couldn't possibly pay for your food and boarding. Why should you work like a horse when you've served me so well all these years? As a reward, I'm setting you free." And then the uncle says, "Oh, thank you. Oh, but what about the saddle and bridle?" And then the merchant says, "You can keep them. I'm a generous man." And he just walks away. And the uncle is pleased with himself, and he's thinking, he's so gullible. Later, he brings the horse back to Shamu and he says, "See, I stole his horse, but in such a way that he won't complain to the police." Wow, he's really teaching him some stuff. So the next day, their lesson continues. Shamu's uncle is hiding behind a bush while Shamu puts a pastry or something down there, kind of like a trap. And then he whispers, the uncle whispers, "Hurry up and hide! Someone is coming!" And then someone finds it and goes, "Hey, a cake! I could do with a snack." And look, look at the look on his cow's face. He's just like, I can't believe he's doing this. Gobble, 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 gobble. The guy eats the cake and then, oh, he faints. And the uncle says the drug in the cake has taken effect. This is why you never eat food that you just found lying there. And then the uncle goes and takes the cow and he says, he'll sleep for hours. In the meantime, we'll take his cow for a little walk. Well, they reach the home and he goes, home sweet home. "Nephew, I'd like a glass of milk," says the uncle. "Why don't you milk that cow?" And then Shamu says, but I've never milked a cow before. And then the uncle says, "There's always a first time, so get going. And see that you keep a sharp watch for the king's men. They're looking for me." Of course they are. Shamu has never milked a cow before, so he doesn't know you must never ever be behind a cow when you milk it. Why is that? So see, soon. He's trying to struggle with a cow. "Keep still, will you?" Thud. Cow's kick from the back, and Shamu got it right in the chin. It's amazing the kick didn't knock him out. He goes, "Oh, I'll try from the side." Keep off. The cow has crushed him, pinned him aside from a tree. And he goes, "Don't kill me. It was not my fault. My uncle forced me to steal." And then the uncle's in the house not knowing why Shamu is shouting. And all he can hear is him saying, "Let me go, let me go. It's all my uncle's fault. My uncle forced me to steal." And the uncle is saying to himself, he must have been captured by the king's men. They're beating him to get information about me. They'll soon be here and they'll catch me. I must get away. So then he starts running. Just then, seems like the king's men are already there. And then they hear something, and then the leader there says, "What's all the commotion over there?" And one of them says, "There's a man running away. He must be a thief. Let's get him." So then one of them gets him. "Got you." The uncle says, "Let me go." And it looks like that's the king. And he goes, "So it's you, the most wanted thief in my kingdom. It's going to be a long spell in prison for you, you scoundrel." That means you rascal. And the uncle is thinking, it's all that boy's fault. I'll make him pay for this. And out loud he says, "Well, you've got me, but you'll never get my assistant who's milking a cow in the meadow. He's as slippery as an eel." And the king says, "Guards, get him too." But as soon as Shamu saw the king's men, he took to his heels. "After him! Don't let him get away!" The king's men gave chase, but Shamu ran like a frightened gazelle. After a long, hard chase, the men gave up. "He's too fast," one of them says. And cursing their luck, they turned back. Tired and exhausted, Shamu returned home. His father says, "Shamu, you're back. Have you learned to trade?" And Shamu's just sweating buckets there. "Well, yes and no." Father's angry. "What do you mean?" And then Shamu says, "Never mind, father. But please, don't ever send me away. It's too dangerous." Shamu had changed. Much to the amazement of his father, he now worked like a demon on the farm. Look at that, he's plowing the fields with the cows there. And then the father says to himself, "He's doing the work of 10 men. How lucky I am to have such a son." The end. Imagine the father sending him off to a thief and thinking, okay, he'll learn something. Yeah, he certainly learned a lot. Thanks so much for joining us again for this story on Indian Story Read Along. If you like the story, think about subscribing so you'll get more stories just like this one, and we will see you again very soon.